Okay, so I'm going to be talking about cell injury, its causes and sequence of events. So, when we're talking about cell injury, it is basically the failure of adaptation to a noxious stimuli. Now, this can be either reversible or irreversible, and it depends on the type of injury, its duration and severity, as well as the injured cell type and its status. So, basically, what do we mean by especially cell type? I want to mention some examples over here. For example, if there's hypoxic injury, so the neurons can be affected in 2 to 4 hours. Whereas when you talk about the muscles, they survive for like 6 to 8 hours. And if you talk about the skin, it can survive for like 12 hours. So the type of cell that's being injured can also, determine if it's going to be reversible or irreversible. And then obviously the duration and severity. So know these three, criterias for the cell injury. This is very important. Now, next we can, so there are different, as I said that in the picture, you can see that irreversible injury can be of two types. It can be necrosis, apoptosis. Obviously, we have other types as well, which will be explained later. Now, the differences also will be explained later, but this is a good picture where you can see what the differences are. Now, if we talk about reversible and irreversible injury, now, it essentially they can actually progress from the former to latter. So it can go from reversible to irreversible depending on the proper stimuli, right? So first of all, if we talk about reversible injury, the hallmark in this case will be cell swelling. Now, the cell swelling can occur due to cation derangements, right? Cell swelling can be due to intracellular sodium or protease activation leading to excess calcium, or we can say the lack of ATP, which can lead to dysfunction in the sodium and potassium pumps as well as the calcium pumps. Another thing that can also be seen in reversible cell injury is anaerobic glycolysis. So, when there's anaerobic glycolysis, there's a lactate buildup, and this lactate buildup leads to low pH, and low pH means that there's denaturation of proteins. The third thing that you can see is membrane blebbing and chromatin clumping. So I'll be showing you pictures of these later, but you need to remember what are what is happening. These are the sequence of events that are basically happening in reversible cell injury, right? The the next thing is that there's low protein synthesis because of the rough endoplasmic reticulum dilation, and cells become more eosinophilic. Okay. Now let's move on to irreversible cell injury. Now, irreversible is normally a late stage, and the hallmark in this case is membrane damage. Now, think about it. If this cell membrane loses its integrity, more calcium can move in, right? And more enzymes can move out. And this can lead to auto-digestion of the cytoskeleton. Okay. Another thing is damaged mitochondrial membrane, in which obviously we know that mitochondria is also causing cell death, right? And here we can talk about cytochrome C is released from the mitochondria, which is leading to apoptosis. Or when we have low ATP production, it can lead to more damage. Now, damaged lysosomal membranes, very logical that there is digestion of intracellular structures because there are enzymes that are present within the lysosome. Then we have nuclear degeneration. Now, this is very important because know what are the steps of nuclear degeneration. We have pycnosis, which is shrinkage, karyohexis, which is fragmentation, and karyolysis, where there's it basically dissolves, right? Now, also know the nuclear degeneration, how it occurs in necrosis, and what happens in apoptosis, because these are two very different things. Apoptosis is